Ahmed Allah joins us tonight as we take a closer look at the policies, priorities, and progress shaping the basic education landscape in the state. How is Sokoto State working to ensure that every child has access to quality education in a conducive environment? What is the administration of Governor Ahmed Ali of Sokoto State doing to improve infrastructure, strengthen governance, and meet the growing education needs of its population? Honorable Commissioner, good evening to you, and thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you very much.
Right, so let me quickly say that Prof is a teacher, a trained teacher, and before his appointment by the governor, he was a lecturer with Usmanu Danfodio University in Sokoto State, where he taught agricultural economics. So once again, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight. So quickly, I want to get this off the table. I need some clarification on an issue raised by Sokoto Professionals Association. Now, what the members of this association have said is that the state government plans to compulsorily hold down beneficiaries of some scholarship scheme for 15 years before letting them leave and explore other personal growth opportunities. What is this about, Prof? Because first, I think 15 years is a lot, because, I mean, if scholarship bond that ties a beneficiary down for 15 years is outright retrogression, even for the state. What's the state government saying?
Well, thank you very much. I think let me make some clarification as far as the scholarship is concerned, because, you know, in Sokoto State, we have 3 ministries of education. We have the basic and secondary education, which I'm in charge of. We also have Ministry of Science and Technology, which is in charge. Another professor is in charge of it. We also have Ministry of Higher Education. So I think essentially the Commissioner for Higher Education is in a better position to provide such kind of explanation.
You're saying you do not know about this scheme, and because, you know, if government, so if you do not know, let me say, government is saying this policy is to ensure that investment in human capital does not go to waste. Beneficiaries must give back to the system that supported their academic and professional growth, which is fair. But this is democracy, not military dictatorship. And if scholarship schemes are meant to primarily benefit the people, especially the children of the poor, to enable them contribute to development and well-being, I think government should have a rethink, so these people can also be useful for themselves. Perhaps you need to speak with the persons in charge concerning this issue. So let's talk about the future of basic education in Sokoto State. I see that there is a commitment or some level of commitment to ensuring that every school-age child in the state is enrolled in school and completes at least the basic education. Prof, you should be aware of the NSSEC 2023-2024 report regarding school dropouts in Sokoto State. That report, according to what we have, revealed that Sokoto had over 11,000 school dropouts, predominantly male students. While I'm stretched to ask how the State Ministry views these figures and if they're consistent with your internal data, since taking office, what key reforms or projects have you introduced to improve the quality of education?
Oh, thank you very much. I think let me start by commending His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Ahmed Ali, for a number of things he has put in place to ensure that every child in Sokoto State acquires qualitative education. First and foremost, I like to say that when he came in, as a governor, he started massively by embarking a renovation of schools. In fact, the first thing he did was to identify about 14 prominent schools, secondary schools in the state, and also other important primary schools. But in the case of secondary schools, under my ministry, like I told you, we have Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, and we also have Ministry of Science and Technology. So under my ministry alone, 10 schools that are prominent in Sokoto State, he started with them, and at the cost of 8.3 billion naira. And these schools are near completion as far as renovation is concerned. There is also another program, Agile program, that is Adolescent Girls Initiative Learning and Empowerment. Under the program, he has also embarked on the renovation of 240 secondary schools. Now, in each of these secondary schools also, a wash facility has been provided for the schools, just to ensure that every school, every secondary schools, it has a wash facility. It has a toilet, particularly where you have girls and boys. The toilets are separated. In our state, we have this culture where we don't like to see our girls unnecessarily intermingling with boys. So that issue has really raised a concern to His Excellency, and he said that if that is the case, then toilets, should be constructed separately, both for male and female, where where the students are mixed. Now, there is also, provision of borehole in every school under renovation, in order to make sure that these children have access to potable drinking water. Now, apart from that also, we are vigorously undertaking training and retraining of our teachers, both in pedagogies, in different methodologies, as well as in computer learning. Just recently, we completed 2 phases of training in computer learning for principals and for teachers, as well as zonal inspectors. This is with a view to equipping them with adequate knowledge of how to adequately operate a computer, enter data into the computer, and be able to process and upload such data to our server, where we are intending to have an education management information system, whereby our educational system in Sokoto State is going to be digitized, so that in the comfort of His Excellency and even the Honorable Commissioner, you can get all the activities that are taking place in every school in the state. Another important thing we are also doing is provision of learning materials. So far, we bought a considerable number of books, textbooks, and exercise books, just to make sure that our children have access to good and recent books that will help them to acquire qualitative education. Another important thing we are also embarking on is a rigorous inspection, monitoring and evaluation of our schools. When I came in, I realized that most of the teachers and even students were not coming to school on time. Now, on that note, I decided that the best thing is to make sure that we continue to embark on inspection, just to bring these teachers back. Because in any learning situation, what you do is to make sure that the teachers and the students are in school, because they are mutually inclusive. Without a teacher, you cannot, not learning can take place. Similarly, without a child, learning cannot take place. The two must be together.
All right, Prof. So, I mean, that sounds very good. I mean, side by side, the education sector.
No, there is another fundamental thing. His Excellency is one of the first governors, if not the first, to fully implement the minimum wage. And today, there is no teacher. Because when he started, you find that there were so many teachers, particularly in the primary schools, that were receiving 18,000, 20,000, 25,000. But today, there is no single teacher, both in the primary and secondary school, that is receiving less than 70,000. You find some of them over 100,000. And another thing that will also interest you, what the governor is doing, we have 329 secondary schools, both junior and senior secondary schools. Now, all these senior and secondary schools, every month, His Excellency gives a cash allocation to each of these secondary schools of 200,000 naira. Every month, on this alone, His Excellency spent 65,800,000.
So what's that money meant?
Sure that,
what's that money? Can you hold on? What's that money for? Because I mean, if I'm to look at the
that money is meant for the management of schools. You know, as a principal, you can use that money to have a first aid box. If there is anything that you have a blown up window, a blown up roof, or maybe you buy chalk, you buy markers. All other necessary things, that within the school system, that 200,000 is meant to ensure that you don't need to go back and start writing to the ministry. You can do that on your own, just to ensure that the schools.
All right. So can you hold on, Prof? So who is in charge of ensuring that all of these funds are used for what they've been budgeted for? Because the education sector received the highest allocation, with approximately 25% of the total budget earmarked for it, exceeding UNESCO's 15 to 20% benchmark. Again, that shows some level of commitment. But what I'm concerned about is how the ministry is ensuring efficient use of education funds and transparency in project execution.
Yeah, thank you very much. As far as my ministry is concerned, let's take, for example, the issue of renovation and construction. Under my ministry, we have 3 ministries of education, like I said, but I like to talk, exclusively about my ministry, where I am in charge. Now, we ensure, efficient resource utilization in the following ways. One, if, for example, a contractor is given a contract to carry out, a construction of a classroom or a renovation or a provision of textbooks or exercise books or ICT materials or whatever it is, now, it is my responsibility and the responsibility of the director concerned, in the ministry, to ensure that quality, materials or quality job is carried out. We will not, allow any contractor to be paid, not until when we go to the site, together with our engineers, if it is a construction work, we supervise it properly. We go around, we go with our, BOQ and ensure that whatever is clearly stated in the BOQ is provided. If something is not provided, then we tell the engineers, when making your CV for the contractor, make sure that this and this are not included because he has not provided them. So inspection of our projects is key. Now, even without, apart from the ministry also, His Excellency has also set up a project monitoring committee at set level, which also goes out to look at all the projects in the state and make sure that they are done according to specifications. Now, when you come to the CA, for example, our cash allocation that is given to the principals, what we do is we give a directive to all the principals. Once you are giving your 200,000 naira, you must go and conduct a staff meeting. And during that staff meeting, together with all other staff, you come up with the items that you think you need to buy using that 200,000 in that particular month.
All right.
Now,
Prof.
once you itemize it, and then you set up a committee, give money to that committee to go and buy whatever you want to buy. Then you have to take minutes of the meeting.
Absolutely, because I asked that question. Can't you hold on, Prof? I asked that question because this is what I say every time state governors tell me they are revitalizing the education system, especially northern governors. Budget allocation is not really the crux of the matter, because we've seen situations in Kano, Kaduna, Cross River, where budgetary allocation is somewhat substantial. But later there is the challenge of, you begin to hear conversations about diversion of funds that would be delayed implementation or centralization of these projects in urban areas, while rural schools are being dilapidated. So how is the ministry ensuring efficiency, equity, and transparency in the use of these funds? What steps are being taken to avoid ghost schools?
Thank you very much. It will interest you to know that when I came in, like I said, I embark on rigorous inspection, that is monitoring evaluation of our schools, looking at the infrastructure, the classrooms, other facilities, the teachers, those who are attending, those who are not attending, the students. Now, in that process, we have been able to make an audit of all the infrastructure, in all the schools. Now, and we are coming up with a report. By the time I go back, every school one by one will see what number of classrooms that are available, number that is functional, number that is required based on the population of the school. And then having this audit, if we're going to make any budget this year, we'll make sure that those schools that require this infrastructure, because we have the audit, we have the information, we have the data, as far as the school's, infrastructure is concerned, does it require a fencing? Right. Does it require, an ICT laboratory? Right. So once you have, a data, you will have an informed decision as far as, provision of these facilities is concerned. You will not have duplication, of facilities. You go and provide facilities where they are already existing while neglecting others. Today, we have a comprehensive data of all our schools, right from infrastructure, teachers, students. We know the population of students, we know the population of teachers. When we are recruiting, for example, we will make sure that when we are going to post, since we know the number of teachers in every school, we know the subjects they teach.
All right, because of time, Prof, that sounds really good. But sadly, we have time constraints. But, I would have loved for you to talk about, assessments of the living conditions of our Almajiri children and children living with disabilities. But sadly, we're out of time. What are your top priorities for the next 2 years? How do you envision Sokoto State's education sector by 2027?
Well, thank you. Let me just briefly tell you that as far as the Almajiri or out-of-school children are concerned, we are making concrete arrangement. We are working with UNICEF, with Plan International, with BMC, with a number of foundations, and we have established. For example, when you take Plan International, it has 214 learning centers. UNICEF, for example, has established 3 digital schools where these children are taught how to use computers. They are also taught English and arithmetic, and then they are also taught, this simple handicraft work. So that at the end of the day, they will have something to do.
All right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Prof, I do apologize. We're out of time. I am so sorry. We're out of time. But I'm sure we'll continue this conversation.
Okay. Can you give me 1 minute?
Some other time.
Maybe busy 1 minute.
In 30 seconds. Let me tell you that I want Sokoto's.
Okay. By the grace of God, I want to make sure that in the next 2 years, the Sokoto State educational management system will be digitized. We'll have students getting qualitative education, passing their WAEC with 5, O-level credits, passing their jams, going to the university, studying
that sounds very
medicine,
good.
Engineering, and other courses.
That sounds very good, Prof. And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for speaking with us. We've been speaking with Sokoto State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Professor Ahmed Laden Allah. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our research persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.